and welcome to Stories for Wonderful Children. I'm Dan Wendelin, your host and storyteller. Years ago, I began recording the bedtime stories I told my children every night. Now, I'd like to share those stories with you. I hope you enjoy my Stories for Wonderful Children.
It was Winella's birthday, and after she had gotten all her other birthday presents, her daddy took her out in the backyard to show her his special present from her mommy and daddy. She closed her eyes, and he led her out in the backyard with her eyes closed. And when she got out there, she opened them, and there in the yard was a brand new silver shiny helicopter. She said, "Whoa!" He said, "Get in and try it." So she climbed into the cockpit. Yeah, it was a big, full-sized helicopter. She climbed in, and her daddy got in the other seat, and she hit the button to start up the blades. The helicopter's blades started to make a tremendous racket, and the grass and trees in her backyard started to blow. And then her daddy said, "Take her up," and she moved the throttle. And the blades went even faster, and she felt the helicopter rising up into the air. And at first the helicopter started to spin one way, so she had to move the foot pedals until it was facing the way she wanted, and then she moved forward the stick, and the helicopter tilted forward and began to fly. She was so excited. It was really fantastic. She could fly up and down and sideways. The helicopter could go any way she wanted it to. She said, "Well, this is fantastic."
How will she get down into land?
We'll have to see where she lands. Her daddy said, "Well, why don't we take it for a little flight?" So Winella flew the helicopter over the houses out of her neighborhood. And then, just because she could, she stopped it and let it hover in place. So it was just frozen in one place in the air. She thought that was just about the coolest thing she'd ever done. Then she started it forward again, and she'd gone on for some little way before she began to approach the edge of the city. She flew out of the city, and then across a river, and then up ahead there was a mountain. And so her daddy said, "You gotta take it up, Winella." So she moved the throttle up, and the engine went from fast to faster. The helicopter rose up over the mountain, and then she brought the throttle down till it was skimming just above the trees, and she went out over a forest. And her daddy said, "Oh, look there, there's a field. Why don't we land at the field?" So Winella brought the helicopter down. And the helicopter settled slowly down into the field. Winella and her daddy got out and looked around. Winella said, "You know, this field looks familiar. This field looks like the..." And just then,
Tickling Wolf's field.
Wolf jumped out of the tall grass and tickled Winella's daddy. "Gudgy, gudgy, 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 gudgy," and her daddy laughed. "Ha, ha, 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 ha." And then he turned around and he tickled the wolf right back. "Ha, ha." And the wolf went, "Oh, ho, 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 ho." He said, "I haven't seen you in a long time, Winella. What's this new machine you got?" And Winella said, "It's a helicopter. I got it for my birthday. Do you want to go for a ride?" And the wolf said, "Sure." So Winella and her daddy got in the seats, and then the wolf got in the back seat, and Winella started the engines up. And the helicopter rose up into the air, and she flew it across the forest, and then she went up and flew it around the mountain and back until it landed again in the field. Tickling Wolf said, "That was a fantastic ride. Thank you, Winella." And then he reached out and he tickled her. She went, "Ah, ha, 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 ha." Winella's daddy looked at his watch. He said, "Oh, we gotta get back. I told your mommy we'd be home in time for your birthday dinner." So Winella flew the helicopter back over the forest, over the mountain and the river, back into her city. She landed it carefully in her backyard. She could see that the guests were arriving for her birthday party, and she had a really lovely birthday party. She had friends from all over come all the fairies were there, and the princesses were there, and they had all gone together to get her a special gift. And when she opened it, it was her very own magic wand. And she said, "Wow, what does it do?" And the fairy said, "Well, a magic wand is a big responsibility. You're going to have to go to wand school all week in order to learn how to use it." And Winella said, "Okay, can I go, Mommy? Can I go, Daddy?" And they said, "Sure." And the fairies gave her instructions on how to get to wand school. And then the party finished up, and Winella went to bed early because she knew next morning she would have to get up bright and early for wand school. And I will tell you the story of wand school and what she did there tomorrow night.
Thanks for listening to Stories for Wonderful Children. I created today's story, but questions and clever commentary were supplied by my children. The intro and outro music is by Brandon Thompson. If you enjoy the show, please tell someone about it, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Our email is storiesforwonderfulchildren@gmail.com, and you can also find us on Facebook or Twitter. I'm Dan Windeland, reminding you to tell someone you love a story.